Welcome to Micro Moments of Self-Love, where we explore the journey of embracing ourselves. I'm your host, Fatema Dewji, and today get ready to have an amazing time as we delve into the funny side of self-love. Stay tuned because you won't want to miss a single funny moment with Idris Sultan. Let's jump right in. Idris, it's such a pleasure having you here today, mostly because this is going to be a little bit different, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about laughing and healing and how self-love can actually be good for you, right?
Yes,
in terms of humor, right? And what humor can do for you. So I'm going to start straight away with a question. Let's say you're stuck on a desert island and you have only one comedy movie to watch and you have only one person to watch it with. What movie would it be, and who is the person?
I think I would watch 2 movies.
Okay.
But one specifically, if I have to choose one,
okay,
it would be Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would watch Forrest Gump.
Okay.
And the person I would watch it with, I know.
Nobody.
No.
Alone.
Yeah.
You watch it alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel like I've not found that one person that would understand Forrest Gump the way I do. Yeah.
It's my go-to movie too, actually.
Really?
But why do you like it?
He's the way he approached life. It's from a very, people would call it innocent and they would call it luck, but then it really met preparation.
Yeah.
Like he knew what he was doing, and
yeah,
it was like what Bruce Lee said, you know, be water, you know, you fit into the shape of the cup, into the shape of the bowl. He was water throughout
yeah,
the whole film. Like
yeah,
every situation he met, he actually fit into it, and he just made it the best whatever it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he gave it 100%. Everything he did, he gave it 100%.
Proper.
Right? Proper. Yeah. Okay. You know, I think for me, like I love comedy just because I think as someone who works so much, it's something that I don't need to think about. Yeah. Like at the end of the night, I just sit, I relax, I watch a comedy movie, and it helps me, it puts me to sleep, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
a comedy movie puts you to sleep.
You know, I think all these like very like the thrillers and action movies, they make me overthink so much that like there's just too much thinking involved. And as someone who likes to just relax like at the end of the night, I feel like when you put on comedy, it releases some endorphins, you know?
Yes, yes.
So
yes. I keep it interesting at night. I would watch a horror film.
You watch horror films?
At night.
Really?
Like, I don't think a horror film is meant to be watched in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
You watch it at night and then you go to sleep and you're fine.
And I would see like one of those things when I go to bed.
God.
I know.
Oh my
but
gosh.
it's all interesting, you know, it keeps you active. Like, you who?
You're like fighting with your brain. Okay.
Stop it. And then no, there's no one. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So, you know, I created a nice shirt for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you know, I want to talk a little bit about what it says. It says Sijui Kitu. I got that from your Instagram.
Yeah.
Why? What's the story?
I used to think I know a lot, actually. So until I started learning more. But every time I actually learned more, I realized there was way more I didn't know. Then I realized I just don't know anything. So I just changed it into my whole mantra of life. First, I had nothing surprises me anymore. And then now I have Sijui Kitu because I literally don't know anything. So I approach everything in life with the mind to actually learn from it. And that's how everybody actually approaches as well. Yes.
I think it's very beautiful actually to live life like that, because when you go into conversations or situations acting like you know everything, you keep up barriers and blocks, right?
Yes.
But if you have an open mind, don't you feel like you meet people and you have conversations where you feel like, you know, you've taken so much away from it, right?
Properly. We do. I would say the society of this world we live in right now really lacks empathy. And when we approach a conversation, we want to tell people what we know, what they should do. We want to just rule over the whole conversation, so we actually end up not getting anything from it. So most of the people who are always quiet are the ones who are learning, because they actually get to hear everything from everybody. And that's how you need to approach it. Everybody has something to actually tell you, whether or not you think they're very knowledgeable in whatever it is you have. So
Yeah, I love that, honestly. And I think this is one of the reasons I started this podcast, because I love meeting different people. I love learning from different perspectives. And like, I mean, we've had some amazing conversations, but I think that imagine having us sit down with you and asking you and drilling you, by the way, which will happen, about all these things. I think that I will walk away, and the viewers will walk away with so much more, right? Yeah. So what are
I'm gonna learn more from you than you'd learn from me, though.
I don't think so. I think we have a very similar approach to life in that way, and I think that is one of the things that makes someone successful. This idea that you don't really know much, and when you walk into life like that, you're constantly learning, you're growing, right? And you get to meet really cool people, right?
And you have actually a very good active listening habit. People listen, but they don't actively listen. They like listen and wait for you to like finish so that they can tell you what they actually think. But you actually listen, so that's a very good quality for you.
I had to practice it.
Oh yeah, it has to be practiced. It's a muscle.
I had to practice it because I love to talk a lot. So this is a challenge for me, because in a podcast I can't keep interrupting you.
So. But it's doing good for you. I think you're doing it.
I'm trying my best. So, Idriss, I want to take you back, way back now to your Big Brother days,
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about, where you were mentally at that state, because you were pretty young,
Yeah, 21.
Like, 21.
21. Yeah.
It feels like a lifetime ago, huh?
It is.
So you were 21. Okay, like what was going through your mind when you went through Big Brother? Like, who was Idriss at that age?
Yes. Hey, that was a very weird time, but I would say I'm raised very well. Yeah, I would really give like accolades to my mother for how she raised me. I don't even know if she knew what she was doing with me, but she did it. so my mentality has been to always gun for something when I want it. So that was my mentality. So even within the Big Brother time, I had already made a goal of going to Big Brother by the time I was 16. So everything I was doing was waiting to get to 21. So by the time I was actually 18, I thought it was supposed to be 18. When I was 18, I realized, nah, it's supposed to wait for 21. So when I got to 21, right away, I was like really ready for it. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what I was supposed to be equipped for. I just knew I needed to go there, and I was only looking for a platform. I wasn't looking for money. I wasn't looking for anything. So that was my mindset by the time. So I was just like gunning for it. I mean, that's how I walk into situations sometimes. I know most people would be like, yeah, that's risky. But no, I would just walk into it, and whatever happens to me, happens to me. So that's what I did for the Big Brother thing. And I even went to the auditions. Like, there were like 3 auditions people wouldn't know most of the time. The first audition was more like, I think they were checking for personality and how you can, who are you exactly? And for that one, I just went there. I remember by the time, I think Young D's song, The Pop Your Collar, was like a very famous song also. So I had my collar popped and everything. And when I got there, I had like my black shirt. It was only that one shirt that I knew can always do it, because everybody has that one shirt when you're like proper broke. So I had that one shirt, a black scarf, and then I walked in there. I was just answering, like fire like that, fire questions and stuff. And then I just passed. They gave me like a golden ticket to come to the next audition. And I was like, the golden ticket itself, I felt like, I've won, I'll keep this one. So I took it. And the day they said, come with like profile shots of yourself, like photography, and come with a swimming costume. So come dressed in a swimming costume. So in the day, I rolled up wearing like my sweatpants and my hoodie. And they were like, but we said, come with a swimming costume. Like, yeah, I'm the guy that's going to stay at the side of the pool. I don't swim. So this is my swimming costume.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how they took it, but yeah, that had to roll with them, because, I don't swim. So what do you mean swimming costume? This is my swimming costume, because they said, actually, come with your swimming costume.
True.
I always go to the swimming pool like this. So I didn't even know how to swim by then. I actually learned how to swim, and it was Taji Liundi actually taught me how to swim. That was like years later. So I was just gunning for it. Then I won that one, and then I went to the last audition, which was in South Africa, and that was my first time out of the country, by the way. And I was like, I saw those roads above, like the flyovers and stuff. I was like, what? I think my first picture in South Africa was me on the road. It was literally that. So I think I had like a gunning type of a personality. Yeah.
I think you walk into situations just wanting to experience them. I don't think you go into them with a mindset of you want something from it, right?
Well, I find, first I should say you're right before I say what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You're very right. I find the experience the winning, and not the end goal itself, because when you're going for it, you take like 2 years maybe, and then you get it. But you get it for like what? Like 2 minutes, and then you go for it for like 2 years. So which is the experience here? It's definitely when you're going for it. So I find that experience, all of it, like everything. Yeah.
I have a quote that goes on my merch which says, "Find joy in the journey." And it goes so well with what you're saying, because I think as human beings, we go from one mountaintop to another, and we want to just go from one goal to another. And in fact, so many of us, we are so miserable during the process that what's the point, right?
True.
So finding joy in the journey literally means like enjoy the experience, enjoy what you're building, right?
Make the best of it.
Yeah. And I can see that. I can see that about you. But as a 21-year-old Idris, like, explain to me, like, you know, how did it feel being in this Big Brother house? Like, what was going through your mind?
Yeah. Oh God. See, I have this theory that you're not what they think your age is. So different people have different ages. Because I do believe age is mental more than like the biology of how long you've been in this world. That's a whole different thing. So I could be 21, but I could be maybe 6, according to what I've experienced. Or maybe I could be 40, according to what I've experienced. So when I went to Big Brother, I think I was like maybe 35, something like that. That was my actual age inside. And my biology age would be 21. So when I was in there, first I had finished the army. So my patience level was like top notch. I know you've gone through like a lot of stuff. And I went through like the first intake of the phase, which was like the toughest of them all. I don't know what they will say otherwise, but now I know that was the toughest of them all. Everybody would say theirs was. But with that, I was like very patient. And then when I went in there, that was like the key thing that was needed. So I don't know if I would say I was lucky or not, because you enter the house and time works differently in there. See, out here, if I would say I'm tired of speaking to Fatema right now, I can just like walk around, and then I would see another situation, and maybe I might not see you for like weeks or months. In there, if I don't like speaking to you, I'm still subjected to seeing you every day, which I'm reminded of why I don't like you. So time really works differently in such a way that moving from the kitchen to maybe the living room would feel like a month from somebody outside here. So that also needed to take my mind into a perspective of accepting what is not in your control anymore, and just live with what is already here. So I trained myself to see the best in everything from there. So people would be going, you know, like crazy, and I'll be just there like, I've had worse. I mean, like, I know where I'm from, so I don't know where you're from on this situation.
But don't you feel like shows like this, they actually they work on people who don't have patience? Like, they're good for people that don't have patience and don't have discipline, because that's what creates the drama.
Yes. They were wrong to choose me.
Because you're like, no, I got this.
A lot was happening around me, but I was really handling it.
I think that maybe not for Big Brother, but that's a good attitude for life. You know, it keeps you very grounded in who you are. And again, we talked about this perspective, right? So I want to move on to the second phase of your life, where you talked a little bit about how, you know, there was a point where you'd made a lot of money, and unfortunately you lost it. You know,
or maybe like, fortunately,
or
I don't know how you see it, but I know how I see it.
Or fortunately,
I lost it.
You lost it, and I want to know a little bit about what your your kind of your mental health was at that time.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I think we all know the story, you know. But
Yeah.
what was going through your head?
Funny thing is, I don't think I've said this to you or anybody though. The first person I actually went to financial advice was your brother, Muhammad.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And by the time I had not even changed the money from dollars to Tanzanian shillings, and he was actually telling me about, oh my God, your brother loves numbers. He was telling me about, you know, the currency is going to drop now. I think by the time it was like 1,600. He was actually saying it's going to go up to like 2,000. And he was actually right. So he convinced me to actually change the money within like 2 weeks. Or I would have lost about 40 to 60 million. And he was actually right. He just gave me that, you know, like for free.
Yeah.
Because when I walked in there, I was like, what is he going to tell me? I don't know. He's like, he has like maybe... He's dealing with way more numbers than what I'm walking in with. What is this? so he gave me that proper foundation by the time. So one thing that I'm glad I did first, maybe I would have actually lost it sooner, and I don't know how. Maybe I should have made myself lose it sooner. When I left the house, when I finished, I told them to not give me the money. I need to know what I'm going to be facing when I reach that land, because I know the families that we come from, Africa. By the time, you know, you're just meeting like, hey, mimi ni uncle wako. I'm like, I don't know you. I'm like, come on. Is it the money now? So I knew that was going to happen. So I just made sure not to have the money by the time I get here, and maybe 3 months later. So I told them about that because they asked me how I would want it. So 3 months later, of course, I got the money. And I thought I missed, I already did like the first, you know, block check and everything. But when I got it, now I had other things. And I also had another mentality: don't change friends, keep the ones you have. But also I didn't think maybe the ones you have could also make it go away. And that's exactly what happened. So fast forward to me already losing the money. I think I took about, there was a month, like a whole month, 31 days actually, that I stayed in my room, not in my house, in my room, where I never saw my living room.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was how it was. So maybe I did not know what depression is. Maybe I was handling it in a very good way. I wasn't lashing out. I wasn't doing everything. I think I was handling all of it. I was battling it inside, like proper, and I was doing so much. And then when I was actually ready, I just stepped out of my room, and from there I asked for help in different ways. I never got help from the people that I actually helped. It was more like everybody's dodging and they have their own things to handle, and I was like, okay, and now I'm learning a new lesson. If you help people, do not expect the same in return. Just give and walk away. By the time you have expectations, you'll be highly disappointed. So I didn't get that help, and then I remembered I had spoken to the late Ruge, and he had told me that, I like your mind, and I think you should come work with me. But he didn't even tell me what to work with. So that's who I followed, and he gave me a job as a radio presenter. And I used that job to pay all my loans. I had like debts, debts. I had like many debts by the time, because I kept thinking my money is going to come back. So I took money from other people with like high percentage, like 30, 40, even 50%. That was like crazy times. So by that time I got that job, and I started working, towards at the beginning from there. So it was like, that's why I have this bracelet actually.
Okay.
Yeah, this bracelet is, I didn't search for it. I found it. I was just walking through a store in a I think it was maybe Doha or one of these airports. I don't remember exactly. And then I saw it, and then I remembered when I was learning how to write. I learned about this formula, which the beginning is actually the end of that movie. So it would start with somebody maybe slapping somebody, and then it goes all the way, and then the end would actually tell you why they slapped them in the beginning. So like the beginning is the end. So you have to consider it that way. So I got this for that same reason. So whenever I find like, okay, something feels like it has ended for me, or maybe it is actually not the ending, it's actually the beginning of something way better. So that's how I actually take life most of the time. So I get these little things to like remind me. So I would walk into Fatema's office and she would be like, sorry, your contract is ending. I'm like, maybe it's the beginning of another one. So that's how I did take it. Yeah.
You know, I love that because it's on you. So
Yeah.
it's a constant reminder, right?
Yes, yes.
Of what's happening. But Idris, you seem like someone who you have it all together. You have a good attitude.
Seems like it.
No, because I'm asking you something. Like you have, I read a lot of psychology, and people say that people who go into comedy or who have a sense of humor, it's like a coping mechanism.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Not for me.
Not for you?
Not for
Yeah.
me. I'm genuinely. No, I think I landed into the comedy industry by mistake.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't deliberately go in there or let's say pursue it or do anything like that. It's just me.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm just like this all the time. So maybe I'm making money of me being me. Yeah. So that's literally what I am. I am not coping with anything. I don't know, maybe I'm the lucky one.
I'll tell you something that really stood out to me. We've met so much and I know you, and I respect you a lot, but what has stood out to me is when we were having the youth event, and you were fashionably late, and what I loved is you walked up on the stage and you were able to not only make me as the host feel so comfortable, but everybody else, and you broke out and said, oh, I was supposed to speak on time management, but I don't think it's a very good topic to speak about today. And then you went on and you talked about your story, but I loved the fact that you were able to, and I think it's because you're very authentic, right? You're very true to yourself, right?
It's easy that way.
It's like there's none of this filters.
Proper. I don't have to remember the lie I told you when I last met you because I was just properly myself when I last met you. Yeah.
So I want to know, you seem to be someone who's comfortable in yourself, that you love yourself, How did you build that?
Yeah.
Because it's, look, we meet people, and I'm going to tell you myself, it's been a journey. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm doing this podcast is I genuinely want to share nuggets of wisdom to people on how they can build a relationship with yourself, right? Because if you know yourself, that's everything. You build a relationship with yourself, it's the source of everything, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to know, like, as you seem like, you have a great relationship with yourself, during good times, during bad times, So how is it that you've slowly built this?
There's an overused word, like, you have to work on your passion. I mean, it's very overused, and when people hear it, be like, okay, another passion thing. So no, not really that. But I think and this is what I always say, the best thing that happened to the train is the rail. Like, the only way the train knows where it's going is because there's a rail, like literally there. A train would not be coming into a place and be like, oh my God, there's like those great buildings, I think we should pass by the middle. Like, there's no rail that's going there. Like, our way is this way, and this is where the rail is taking us. So I don't think people have that most of the time. People are not making things happening around them. They're letting things happen to them. So when things are happening to them, like, you're living like a reaction. Like, somebody does something to you, so you're like, I reacted. If it doesn't work, you learn a new reaction. So you're not making things happen. So that's how I just had to say, I need to create my own thing. So what I did is I got a diary, and on the diary, I drew my map. And I even drew the tributaries because I knew, like, this could not happen. Let me try this a different way. So it wouldn't surprise me that I tried another way. But I already knew what I wanted first. But we know what we want. A lot of people know what they want, actually, more than they think they do. But they don't draw the map to it. They're just existing, waiting for it to happen. So they're not making it happen. So I drew my map. I say, I want an Oscar. I want to be like a very well-known filmmaker in the world. I drew that. I wrote that in the top of my diary. And then I wrote where I am right now. Right at the bottom, I just wrote Idris, basically me. So there. And then I drew a straight line to what I want to do. And then I started thinking, how do I get there? And then I would write here radio, I would write here series, I would write here modeling, I would write here this. I wrote so many things. And I've done so much of that. But they're both on my rail. So nobody would come with something new, and then I would just leave my whole plan and go with that plan. That's me letting life happen to me. So I think that's how it just put me where I am.
So you manifested it
properly. You have to. If you just, people will make you work for theirs if you just don't make yours work.
They say like, if you write down your goals, they're 40% more likely to happen, right?
True.
Because you know, you have a map of where you're going. And maybe that's a form of self-love, that you sit with yourself, you understand yourself, you respect yourself enough to say, this is what I want, and I'm gonna, and like you said, slow little milestones that I'm going to start to work on to get to where I want to be, which is to get an Oscar, for example. Right? Now, look, it's all very nice to talk about it in the sense of, okay, I can love myself through difficulties with life, but what about relationships? I think with relationships, with a significant other, it can get a bit tricky, right?
Yes.
Sometimes relationships can leave you, euphoric and then in depression. So can you tell me a little bit about maybe how you've maneuvered that?
People should stop, expecting movie kind of relationships in their lives. Like, ask anybody today. How has your life been from the day you were born? Trust me, from the poorest person to the richest person, all of them will have the same answer: roller coaster. It was this way. It was this way. So how is it you walk into a relationship and you expect it to go this way? Like, you should have, like, if I walk into a relationship, I'm already thinking, the first time we're going to fight, what am I going to do about that? I'm already thinking about it. It's never going to surprise me. So with me, I knew I've had relationships which were public. And I was like, God, so now when you have a relationship which is public, it could actually even affect your career in the good way or the bad way. It could go either way. That's whose law of motion, I don't remember if it's Newton or anyone. But like, every action has an equal and opposite reaction force. So if you have the best of the world, you will have the worst of the world as well. It has to balance that out. So with me, I just said, maybe I do not want too many people having an opinion in my relationship of how I should handle it. Because I do not think what they tell us about theirs is everything that is in their relationship. So you can't basically come and say, Idris, I think you look good with so-and-so. What do you mean? What do you mean you look good? What does that even actually mean? We have to look? Like, what is that in a relationship? We're so into something that's going to fade, maybe. We're not even creating meaningful relationships. We're not talking in these relationships. We just have a whole manifestation of how we want a relationship because we saw it on some film and how it was. And the movie only ended when people got married. How was the wedding marriage? How was the whole thing? How was the life of these people after that marriage?
It ends at the wedding, at the altar.
So we have to encounter all those and think about it. So after my public relationships, I was like, maybe I should take a break in these public relationships and see if I'm actually forming meaningful relationships or relationships which look like films, because that's what people love. They want to see films of relationships. They want to see us perfect out there. And I can't have that, even for the ones I'm having relationships with.
But when you went through your relationships, I'm sure there were some that were great, and they left you feeling good, and then there were some that were very difficult. Right? So I want to know, how did that affect you as a person? Because as much as a lot of people would want to say that, look, I'm this, I know who I am, I'm this strong person. We've all had the euphoric relationships, and then there've been, I'm sure that during relationships there are times that make you feel, a certain way about yourself, maybe not the best way, right? And this is a nature of being with someone that you love or
Yes.
that you spend so much time with. So how do you cope with moments like that, where I'm sure that you've had relationships that maybe were not the best for your mental health?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
how did you deal with yourself at that time?
Yes. First things first.
Yeah.
Every relationship changes you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't change you, you were not in the relationship.
Right.
Because I do believe when two people are going to be in love, they have to sacrifice something. Like, it has to be. Like, you would never meet somebody and be with them and not have to leave some habit of yours
Right.
out of this whole equation.
Right.
So with that sacrifice, you're already a changing person. So now there's always a question if this relationship is worth my sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's always a thing.
Okay.
I've been in relationships which were not worth the sacrifices I made because it took, and I'm a patient person, so that's, as much as it's a quality, it's also a huge impediment for me.
Right.
When it comes to me handling a whole relationship, because as much as I would be like, yeah, maybe they're gonna change after some time, or maybe they're gonna change, maybe they're gonna actually understand
Right.
what they're doing is not right after me explaining way more times.
Right.
But through that whole thing, I'm spending more time trying to fix my relationship than actually enjoying it. So
Yeah.
I've been in those relationships and they have actually affected my creativity, because you can't be creative without being happy. I swear to God, I'm not a
I
rapper,
agree.
I'm not a musician. Musicians and rappers are the only people who can be creative through the pain. Like, the whole thing, like you can write your pain out.
Yeah.
But me, as let's say somebody who is expected to be the light of the day or the sunshine to people's smiles or whatever,
Yeah.
I cannot come out and be a happy person if I'm a very, very sad person.
Right.
I will have to find that aspect inside me and find a way to just push it out properly, because I'm not the one who's gonna write how to make people happy. I'm the one that just comes and gets to be happy, and then you can be happy with me.
Yeah.
I'm that person. So I wasn't gonna be creative in those relationships.
Yeah.
And I think I might have ended them a little bit earlier, but my patience just betrayed me.
Yeah.
So I was way more patient than I should be.
You know, I think that, look, when I think of relationships, I always say that you be the best version of yourself, work on yourself.
Yes.
I will work on myself so that we can have a good relationship together.
Yes.
I don't believe that the equation will work if one person is not doing it, right? Because yes, you know, they say like, oh, you know, it's all about coming together and you make me whole, but it's not. I'm a whole person, you're a whole person.
Yes.
Let's work on ourselves, and then when we come together we can actually create something beautiful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But what are your thoughts? I think, like, now that time is moving, and you know, with social media, with technological change, people are becoming less and less patient.
Yeah.
And my examination of all this is that actually people don't have, because of this whole constant like this instant gratification.
Yes.
People don't even want to work towards something.
Yes.
They just want to give up.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
Social media has done two things. Social
Yeah.
media has done the best to us and the worst to us in terms of
Right.
that. So with the whole respect to relationship, when I walk into social media right now, I would see somebody would be telling me how a perfect woman would be and should be. So
Right.
I would listen to that whole aspect and be like, yeah, you're actually right. That's how a perfect woman should be. But they omit one thing out. That's not a woman you find.
Yeah.
It's a woman you build.
Right.
Even as a man, women are busy telling each other, you should not settle for less. Yeah. Don't settle for less. Build them more. But
Yeah.
don't just go for them more.
Yeah.
So women would be like, maybe I would want to find a man who could take care of me. But they omit the factor that you can actually help him take care of you. So that whole thing left out from that whole advice is the only bad thing about social media.
Right.
But it is an actually good advice.
Yeah.
So people now have omitted the factor of building relationships to finding relationships.
Right.
So that's the whole thing that social media is doing to us.
Yeah.
So I would find a relationship, I want to just find the perfect person for me.
Right.
You can't find a perfect person. There's always going to be something that you need to build with them, or help them build, or even make them realize there's even that thing to even be built in the first place. So that's the whole thing that social media has done for us. It's not teaching us to build, but it's teaching us to find what we actually deserve. I don't know if we deserve it. We haven't actually. What do you think you deserve? Like, you're also broken. So I don't deserve you. You can find me perfect. While you also need to fix something with yourself. So maybe that's something that social media should help us do, and it might.
Yeah,
it might.
I think, you know, that it has a lot to do with knowing yourself.
Yes.
You know, I feel like we're so busy, like you said, like social media will be like, you need this kind of girl, or this is beautiful. If you don't know yourself, you don't know who you are, you don't know what kind of person you're looking for, and everybody is looking for a different kind of person, right?
Yes.
I feel like social media has become a very herd mindset where you have to find someone like this, like this, like this, like this. Even if you don't like them, you have to find someone like that, right? And I think that the more I've noticed, the more time I spend with myself, you know, thinking, accounting for myself, becoming self-aware, I realize that I have a mind of my own in terms of what kind of person I like to be with, right? And I do believe very much, like you said, that you can't walk into a relationship and expect perfection. Because you're not perfect. In fact, you know what I look at whenever I'm getting triggered by my partner? I always think, okay, this is a reflection on me. Something's going on inside me. Yeah, like there's something happening inside me. Why is it affecting me? And what I actually end up doing is, I love it because it gives me so much more control over the situation, because then I look inside and I'm like, okay, I need to work on this, right? You're not the victim anymore. Then you're not like reactive, and you're not getting angry, and you're not getting pissed off anymore. You're just like, wait, Tulia, let me go and think about why this really pissed me off, you know? And I think that in that way, relationships kind of with yourself, you know, become better, because you're giving yourself time, you're patient with yourself, you're learning about yourself. And at the same time, in the relationship, you're also learning about your partner.
I've heard that question before in a perspective of a parent being asked, what are you going to do for your child in this whole environment of social media right now? And I've seen so many parents actually say, I'm going to make sure I'm going to limit their time on social media, I'm going to limit their things with devices, I'm going to do this and that. But then I asked them, when you were young, did your parents really make you not do what you wanted to do? You always found a way to get into that. So the best way to do it is not to omit the fact of social media or even devices, but to make sure you strengthen your child's mind to be able to handle that social media, because you already told them about what's going to happen. So we don't do that. But also for adults, that's exactly what's happening. I see people right now where they would rather speak to you on social media, but never want to meet you, because now you will see them without a filter. That has destroyed them, like, properly. They know you know them as Xiao. You know me as Xiao, whatever, that filter. But now how are you going to find me as me? They wouldn't let you do that. So they don't really love themselves, because they were not prepared to handle this. But then I wouldn't blame our parents. They didn't have social media. So we have to actively learn and make sure that we advise our next generation way better to handle these things. But you can't tell them like, can you imagine right now the whole world has robbers? We have robbers, we have thieves, we have everybody who's doing every type of crime outside your door. Are we telling these kids don't go out?
No.
We're actually telling them there's this. Now they would walk out and handle it. So that's
I like that perspective, because I feel like life is constantly changing. You're gonna be hit with so many things, you know. And if you work on your mind yourself, that will prepare you for everything, right? And I feel like even as us, you know, as human beings, we have to constantly work on ourselves, because you know, I really don't like reactivity. I don't like you said at the beginning, you know, I feel like it's you become a slave to everything around you, and you're so easily manipulated, right? Something will go well, you're ecstatic. Something will go badly, you're in depression. You know, and look, this is a reality of a lot of people. And you know, and I'm not even going to talk about people. It was a reality of my life where I was living so much outside myself that anything that would happen outside of me would cause a reaction. And I had to actively work on myself by pausing, literally pausing. Like, I would be in a meeting and I would be so like highly like reactive. I'd have to walk out of the meeting, breathe, walk, take a walk around the parking lot and come back. Because I would just, you know, it's like actively telling yourself, no, I deserve better. I can do better, you know. And I think those little moments of like taking that breath or taking that space, right, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's with yourself, whether it's, you know, as a leader, whatever, right, as a friend, those things are what, you know, make you, you know, and make you who you want to become. You know, they always say, like, yesterday I asked a question on my social media. I said, you know, what are you becoming, right? What is it that you want to become? And for a long time, I used to say, I want to become peace, because it was a thought. It was a thought that was so far from my mind. It was something I could not achieve, peace, because I live in a very turbulent environment, in the sense of actively working, actively surrounded by, you know, just, you know, reaction, that I literally did not know what good peace felt like, but I was craving peace. I just wanted my body to feel rest, my mind to feel rest. So you know what I did?
What did you do?
I made sticky notes. I swear to God, until today, it's all over my room. I am peace. Notes. I am peace. Yeah. And I would wake up in the morning and I would open my laptop and I had the sticky note that said I am peace. And I would go into my mirror, and you know what that did is, you know, people, I used to genuinely thought that people doing this were very silly. Like, I used to be like, what is this self-care crap?
I know how many things I've done for that.
Right? And then I did it, and I realized that actually I was training my brain to be like, no. Everything, you look for the peace in it.
Yes.
And that really helped me. Like, it's helped me now to a point where genuinely when something doesn't go my way, physically, it does not even cause a reaction anymore.
Yes.
My body has become so regulated because of the constant work I've done to it, that I feel so powerful. I feel like nothing is going to manipulate my behavior anymore, or at least I try. I try my best to do it, you know. So yeah, I think that's why it's so important to work on yourself. You know?
You know why people would always be very drawn to film, like when they watch movies, they feel like they're very attached to the character. It's because they've seen themselves in that character. Like, we need to see something we want in order for us to actually go for it. So when you wrote peace on your sticky notes, you actually were able to see it. Like, you actually just need to see it, and then you can actually do it within it. So you can actually write anything. I think I'm gonna go write $1 million.
I am $1 million. Try it. Idris, you never know.
I'll be surprised.
Yeah. You're training your brain, you know, for it. Okay, Idris, you know, you are somebody who's unfiltered sometimes. You're controversial in your own way.
Most of the time,
you know.
Most of the time.
But I think that you have a very beautiful way of balancing it, you know. But has this unfiltered Idris got you in trouble ever? And can you tell us a story?
You're asking me literal questions that you know answers to. Yeah. I've been what would you call it? Jailed.
What's that word?
It would be jailed, I think.
Yeah.
The first time was for swapping my picture with the president, and the second one was for laughing at the president's suit. And both times, I was still like, I'll still be confused, like, what did I do? You know, like, those are the times that I've actually been in those positions, and I've never been scared to like push things that I found to not be, you know, they're not rude or anyway, but some people couldn't like take that. But then those situations that I've actually, my unfilteredness has put me in so much trouble, I've actually taught me something different. They've taught me that as much as I do have a filter, I also need to consider how the person I'm being unfiltered to can handle my unfilteredness. So I can only give you with the layer you can take, so that we can both understand. But that's my level of empathy I had to get to by being in that position. But nowadays, people have this whatever type of a habit where they feel like you only need to conform to their filter. But I still had to learn that maybe Fatma can take this type of a thing, and then I'll go speak to somebody else, they can take this type of a thing. I don't have to bring you what I took from somebody else and bring you here. So
they say meet a person at the capacity they can handle. Right?
There you go. Speak to them
in the language that they understand. Do you regret what you did?
No.
No, I love it. Okay.
No. I think maybe I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known the police the way I know them now. I think that was a great marketing to the police.
You know, it's incidents like that make great stories, right?
Proper. I have that. I think I told you when we spoke last time that whenever like some really crazy bad thing happens to me in life, I would always be like, oh, my book is gonna be interesting. I would always have that. You don't want to read a book where everything is be like, Idris was born, good family, great schools, he started a business, worked very well, he's a billionaire, oh, he died, oh, he went to heaven. You don't want to read that book. There's no way you're gonna be inspired. You want to hear like Idris was born, and as he was born, the doctors say, I don't think he's gonna be alive in the next 2 minutes. Like, you want to read something that's very close to the end of everything, and that's how you want to do it. And my life has been like that. Everything is like close to the edge.
A roller coaster.
Like, everything is like like you have to like grind your teeth on my life stories.
I think like you said, it's all about perspective. You know, people can look at their life and think, this terrible thing happened to me, oh my god, it's making me depressed, it's making me angry, it's making me bitter. Or you can say, hey, I learned something, it's gonna make a great story.
That's very true.
Right?
Do you use those you remember those like binoculars which had like a city in them? And you just like and you see something else, you would see them, you were like so happy, like you're there. That's how you need to look at life. Like, you need to have your own binoculars into seeing things. Like, I could see right now and I'd be like, I think you're a very happy woman. And somebody else would look at you and be like, I think you could do better. And you're like, what is wrong with you? What are you seeing? So that's how I have my own binoculars of life.
But I think you're one of very few people. And I think that this is something that we should, as human beings, actively do. Right? You know, actively look at. So I'm reading a spiritual book, and you know, in Islam they say Alhamdulillah always, right? Just always thank God for your blessings, right? And it's something that I've been trying, and it's so hard sometimes because
to thank God.
You know why? Because you know, I'm a kind of person that I feel like I like things that to go a certain way. So I think in that way, personality-wise, we're a bit different, because I like to have things organized, and if something doesn't go, you know, it kind of makes me uneasy, right? Because I like to control things. But the last couple of weeks, I've been practicing this, and just everything, you know, whether I'm looking outside and I'm in nature, or I'm in traffic and stuck in traffic, and or Idris comes late to a meeting, I'm like, Alhamdulillah. And I just feel like what it does is that gratitude, it changes my perspective.
Acceptance.
And right?
I have very weird conversations with God. I don't know if most people do that, but my conversations with God are just like the way I'm speaking to you, in a very respectful manner, but a conversation. Like, something bad would happen to me, and on my prayer, like when I'm on sujud, and I'll be like right there, and I'll be like, okay, God, now here's what happened. Now you tell me what you were trying to save me from, or did you just make me lose an opportunity? Do you think like you've done well for me, or should I change something? Help me understand. And that's my conversation. I wouldn't just be like, all in all, just have like, thank you for what happened, you have saved me from I'm not in that bubble. I'm like, I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Let's speak in a manner where I respect you, I love you, now tell me what was happening here.
You know, I actually write letters to God, because I do, because I used to not be like this. I used to be somebody who, you know, I think the way we were raised through madrasa and through school, it was always like, you have to pray, you have to do this, you have to do this. It was
very radical.
And I was so away from my actual emotions. I was talking to one of my spiritual teachers, and she was telling me that, you know, one way to connect to God is to write letters to God, because I used to be somebody who, I grew up very disciplined in the approach to God. It was very logical. It was very like, you have to pray, you have to talk to God in this manner, like you said, you know, like a very it's like God is something that you know, someone you pray to, but it has to be in a certain way only.
Yeah.
And I was so far from my emotions, and then there was periods in my life where I would really struggle.
Yeah.
And you know, she said to me, she said, look, why don't you write a letter to God and like actually express yourself?
Yeah.
And now it's like that. Sometimes I'm like, God, you have a sense of humor, huh? This is very funny. Like, this is, you know, this is you know, this is funny. I know what you're trying to do, and it helps so much, right? Don't you feel like it helps?
Yeah, I remember when you said that, you made me laugh, because I remember a moment when I was I take like very long sujuds, especially in Laylat al-Qadr, and I was on one, and I was locked up. Yeah, I was locked up when I was doing Laylat al-Qadr. It was like the last 10 days of Ramadan, and then when I was praying, and I didn't even know where the Qibla was in the first days. Yeah, the second, like the third, is when a police came in and they had like an iPhone, and I was like, oh my God, please, can I use to see where the Qibla is? And then I just found it. And then when I was praying that night, I was like, oh wow, you put me in here and then you don't even show me a Qibla. And I wouldn't even laugh at that. I wouldn't even know what time I woke up to pray for it.
Yeah.
I was just, it could be 6 a.m.
Yeah.
It could even be 1 a.m. So I don't even know. So when you told me that, I was like, wow, you have a good sense of humor. This is what I asked for. Good.
Yeah.
I asked for like, make something big out of my life, and you put me in here. This is big.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's true, right? Because I think that's the whatever it is that you believe in, you know, whether it's the universe, whatever. I think emotionally connecting is so important, right?
Very much.
And it also I feel like it makes my soul feel so much lighter when I do connect with God in a way that is easy for me to speak to Him.
Yes,
You know.
Yes. You can even write journals sometimes, even if you're not speaking to God.
Yeah.
I think it's and you actually are the one that told me this, you know, like, you know, self-realization is a part of religion, like maybe half of it or something like that.
Yeah.
And people do not do that, you know, like the whole self-analysis and everything.
Yeah.
So when you're writing to God the way you were told to, you actually find yourself right in the middle of the letter. Like you realize, so this is all my doing. You might even end the letter there. You'd be like, okay, now I get it. I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Now I get it. So you just have to write it down for you to actually see. Maybe you are the one actually could have actually made some correction there. And I think that should be done.
I think just from this conversation, just taking time during the day to connect to yourself, you know, and just taking parts of the day to be accountable. Like every night I really try. I think back at my day and I think, what did I do? Who did I meet? What conversations did I have? You know, who was I good at? Who was I good to? Maybe who could have I been better to? And I'm not perfect, but I try.
Yes.
I try to do better every day.
No one is.
Right? Yeah. So I think it's a journey, you know, that it's a journey of
self-realization.
And
did I put it well?
Yeah,
oh
you
my
did.
God, I've done a good job.
Yeah, you have. So, you know, I feel like you're someone who, out of all these very interesting situations you put yourself into, you find the humor in it, you know. Has there ever been an incident maybe with, like, you know, a fan or you know, like a conversation you've had where, you know, maybe you've met like a crazy fan and like, you know, what happened and how did you react to that?
I've had so many crazy moments with fans.
Yeah.
And I'm a very open person, even when you meet me like in huge public, regardless of me having security or not. I would grab that conversation for like 2 seconds and then let it go. Yeah. But I've had people see, most of the time when people meet you for the first time, they feel like you know them as much as they know you. Yeah. So they would always have that, like, yeah, you know that time when you... I'm like, yes, which time?
Yeah.
You don't remember? I'm like, tell me which time. They feel like I saw them when they were looking at me and we're having that conversation. Yeah. I've had those moments, and I think once it was, I think we were doing Bongo Star Search, and I was like passing through the red carpet. It was like the final show. and this fan, they like grabbed onto my neck. I think they were like super drunk, maybe. I'm not sure what was happening.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she was a very beautiful lady, so even the security was confused what to do with her. She just like grabbed onto my neck. It was like she was telling me something, but she was like short. So when she was like, she put her hand on my neck like this, it was like, and I was listening. Yeah. And then she just jump on my neck, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? I think I might have carried her like a few steps into the darkness, so that there was like not too much lights for people to actually start recording it or something. But a lot has actually happened, and I love my fans. I think they're very respectful towards me. Like nothing super crazy bad has happened, and I think most of it has been out of love, and I see that.
Yeah, I can see. It's. I think you're someone who's very easily. Someone can approach you very easily because
you'd be surprised. People think I'm like egocentric if they've never met me.
Really?
If they've never met me, like they would look at me and they'll be like, no, they actually assume I would be. They've not seen any egocentric thing about me, but they just be like, yule atakuwa naringa, like atakuwa, like yule atakuwa naringa ule mnamana. Like that's it. I'm like, nah, that's you. That's you assuming.
I think it's the general people's attitude towards these like influencers or towards stars, where they feel like you have an arrogance because of where you are. In fact, I think it's the opposite, because you have been in so many situations, right? You are able to empathize so much, right? And it keeps you so much more grounded, right?
Proper.
Right? I mean, 1 minute you're like, on like the red carpet, and another minute you're in a jail cell. So I mean, life has been pretty interesting
with both of them. Like I've met everyone. I think I met this guy when I was locked up. His name was Fundi Seremala, but I thought he was actually a carpenter.
Yeah. Then
a few days later, I realized they actually called him carpenter because he was the best lock picker. Yeah, as easy as that. Like this guy, he was like the most charming person. He was very kind. He was very cool.
Yeah.
The best lock picker.
Oh my God.
But he proved it. He didn't stay there 2 days. I'm telling you.
He got out of there.
I don't know how he got out,
but my God.
He didn't stay there for 2 days.
Oh man, like, I should have taken a ride with him.
I swear. They called him Fundi Seremala, man. He was like, they actually welcomed him back.
Oh
like
my God.
He was always there, like in and out, and it's like something. I'm like, I think I once when I found that, I was talking to a police. I was like, hey, you guys should advise him, but he's doing a very good job picking these locks, but he's not doing a good job, not getting caught. He should work on he should work on that. So I've met both people, and I'm very lucky. I always say I'm the luckiest because I've come from almost the bottom to almost the top. So I can speak to almost any person and properly understand them. Like I know exactly what they're going through according to the life bracket or whatever you say, economic bracket they are in. So I'm both those areas.
It's good for, I think, building relationships like this. I always say it's really good for business as well.
Yes.
Your attitude, the way that you are able to relate to people. It's good for life, and it's good for business, right?
Properly. I like that you're very you're very easygoing these days. You're a very changed person.
I'm a changed person. So that's interesting. What did you think of me when you first met me?
I think you were very guarded. When I first saw you, and I understood why you would be.
Okay.
But I was hoping you would know where you can be and where you don't have to be guarded. And I think that you can never be told that. You only have to experience it for you to know where I can actually just be, okay, I think I'm a bit safe here. Even though it always comes as a surprise, where you think you're safe and you're not safe. As a person who anything that you say or do could be actually taken the opposite way and just crush you and a whole group of people behind you. So I quite understood, but I'm actually glad you're going through this change.
I think I have dedicated the last year and a half to like just working on myself, and honestly, I think it's opened so many doors for me. Like in maybe not so much with my work, as in like I think in fact I'm a lot smarter with my work in terms of I'm just trying to enjoy life. And as someone who actively has to try to enjoy life because my life was just work, and my life was just do, go, you know.
Yeah, that's sad.
It was and you know, I'll tell you, Idriss, it was a very sad life, because a lot of people, maybe they don't know, but I was not happy. I think, you know, what you've got from me at that time,
expect you not to be happy.
I was guarded, because I was always living on the edge, where like it was, you work all day, and you know, you have very little time for personal relationships. You know, you're constantly on edge, you're constantly reacting, because,
and you're a woman,
and I'm a woman.
That's a pretty tough one.
It's a lot, I guess, for one person, but I feel like in the last year and a half, everything, like you say, you know, everything has fallen in place, where it's become like a flow now.
Maktub.
Exactly. You know, and I do believe that, you know, and when you relinquish control, and because now I've become a lot more spiritual, I feel like, look, I'll do what I can, and then you leave the rest to God, right? They say like, tie your horse and then let God take care of the rest, and that actually, it gives you a sense of peace, because now you're like, man, look, man, I've done my best, God, relax, like, help me with the rest. I
don't know if you've noticed it, but you have actually done a huge work on yourself. You even had a political smile. Do you know the political smile?
Oh, big time. I do. You're right.
You had a proper political smile. Like, it would switch from like you would like say hi, done, it's gone. Like, from a second I'd be like, what was wrong with that one? Like, you had that one, but you're done. You're very
Trust me, I know, and I'm so aware of all this. But it's interesting when I hear it from you, because I think, you know, I'm grateful that you share that, because it does make me also remember who I was and who I'm becoming, you know. And so it's a good reality check, you know.
It is.
And sometimes, you know, you need these people around you to tell you, oh, look, this is where I see you're going, and you're like, oh, great, that's where I want to go, you know. So thank you for sharing that. That's interesting.
I think as humans, we should give everybody a chance, like the way we give to children. You see how we see a child that cannot walk, and then from the time that they're starting, they're trying to walk, and we go, oh my God, you walk, and then they start walking, and they feel like they're also even cheered, and they walk. But we don't do that for adults. Like, we see somebody struggling with something, and we just want to crush them down. Like, imagine if a child was trying to walk, and you'd be like, you can't walk with those wobbly legs. Like, that's not gonna work. I think maybe you needed that stick, you know. You know, like, let's let you and just cheer whatever it is you're doing, and you're gonna get to the greatness that you're looking for.
That means a lot to me, because, you know, I do that for a lot of people. That's what I do, right? That's my work, whether it's my work life or it's, you know, the work that I do with my mentorship. I literally, believe it or not, I wake up, and every single day I tell myself, like, how can I help another person? Genuinely. That's, you know, and I'll tell you something, I'm lucky to have that opportunity, because other people are thinking of how can I survive. So my life now is about how do I wake up and make someone else's life better, and I'm very lucky.
That makes you happy.
I'm not saying this because I know that it's from a sense of gratitude that I have the opportunity to do it, right? People don't, but I really wake up, and I want to make people happy, and I want people to walk away feeling good about themselves. I want them to know that they have this power, and they have the ability to do whatever they want.
That's the heart of a comedian.
Is it?
Yeah, you always want people to be happy. Otherwise, you feel like you've not done yourself a good job.
Right? So I guess in that way we're very, very similar, you know. But I think, and I think that it is important for like you said, give people a chance, man. You know?
Forgive me for turning this to you, though. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think you're too nice?
I think that before, I think it was coming from a different place. It was coming from a people-pleasing place because of maybe some trauma. You know, they say you become a people pleaser. Now, after working on myself, it's coming from a place of I do good, and it makes me happy, and if it doesn't make me happy, I don't do it. But also, I don't expect anything in return. I live my life like that. I give, and that's it.
So the key is acceptance.
And that's how you started. You know that circle you talked about? That's exactly what it is. It's acceptance. Right?
I like that.
Acceptance of your circumstance, acceptance of, you know, I think of yourself,
Yeah.
right? So many times, you know, we're so harsh to ourselves, right?
Proper.
Right? Don't you feel like, let's say for me, I'm an amazing friend, and I think all my friends can testify, like I'm a good friend, like I'm the friend who will be like, you're amazing and you can do it, and like I'll be there and like I'll cheer them on. And there was a time when I've always been such a good friend, but when I would talk to myself, I would be like, oh my God, why did you do it like this? Why are you doing these things? And then, you know what I started doing? Genuinely, because I was so far from myself, I would literally put my hand on my heart and I'd be like, look, you're doing a good job. Like, you did really well. Like, you know how you're talking to a child?
Yes.
I would talk to myself like that. And people might think this is stupid. If you asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, what is this? Like, what nonsense is this? If you told me 5 years ago, Fatema, what kind of podcast would you do? I would tell you it would be about leadership or marketing. I would have not done a podcast on self-love.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you...
You have to love yourself to do this.
Yeah. You have to love yourself to make a difference. You have to love yourself to be a good leader.
Yes.
If you don't love yourself, I think that there is really... You are not doing justice to yourself or to another person.
That is proper. We're not like bees, where a queen is just born and it already looks like a queen.
Yeah.
We actually build queens when it comes to this life that we are in. So anybody could actually be a queen or a king. You have to just build that.
I love it. I love that metaphor. It's a good metaphor.
You have to work through that.
Beautiful. No, beautiful. And it's so true. And now, I think we've had some very intense conversations, so we're going to move on to the next section, which is, it's called the rapid fire round. Okay. I'm gonna drill you, Idris. You know, I want people to see how fast you can think and how witty you are. You know.
Okay.
So this one is, you have literally 5 to 7 seconds to answer each question.
God, are you gonna time me?
Yeah. Okay. I will not time you because I trust your comedic timing.
Okay.
Right. So I think we're gonna go. Quick, Idris, love at first sight, real or just a myth?
Myth.
Myth.
Yeah.
Okay. Controversial opinion alert. Can exes be friends, or is it better to cut ties completely?
I've had the worst of that moment. I've always tried to be friends with my exes, and their boyfriends called. The boyfriends go, don't call my woman. I'd be like, well, that was my woman. Yeah.
Okay. Quality or quantity on a relationship?
Quality. Yeah. Ish, but no. Yeah. What? Quantity. I'm Muslim.
Yeah, quantity. For quantity.
Yeah.
Times
Proper. Yeah.
Unwavering passion or stability?
God. Stability. Stability. Yeah, I think stability is very good. Unwavering passion is... You have seen those movies when they're about to do something, they just throw things around. I'm like, nah, that is expensive passion. Yeah, stability is good for me.
Stability. I think so too. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
What the? That is a crime. That is supposed to be a crime. You cannot do that to a pizza. No way.
Agree.
No. People should actually be jailed for that. I don't know why do we jail people for doing stuff on social media? There's people who are doing stuff to our food. Like pineapple on pizza.
I know.
Jail time. Like actually life in jail.
It's such a weird combination.
You're not supposed to do that.
I feel like it's a psychopath behavior. Little bit.
If I would see Ted Bundy and a pineapple on pizza person, I'm more inclined to be friends with Ted Bundy. Like over pineapple on pizza person. No way.
Okay. No, I agree. It's mildly psychotic.
Yeah, it shouldn't work. No. But whatever makes you happy, though. People are broken.
Honeymoon destination: living under the stars in Serengeti or on a beach in Zanzibar?
Hey, remember I told you about no swimming?
Not the beach.
No, okay. I can control the stars. They're out there, but the ocean, it's really making its own decisions. I cannot allow that. That is instability. No.
So Serengeti, huh?
Serengeti stars. Thank
Okay.
you. They cannot touch me.
Okay. So, as a Tanzanian, do you feel like the man should be the breadwinner or should be 50-50?
I think the man should be the breadwinner. Like, this is like 100% for me. The woman can win her own bread to just like, reduce a little weight on my bread eating. But the man, I walk into a relationship knowing I'm going to be the provider. Like, literally, I'm going to be the provider. of the whole family and the clan. But I hope she's going to help me just ease this weight a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just at home, yeah? In
I
terms
swear.
of just being relaxed a little bit.
I will win the bread, but I hope you're wise enough to make the bread fit everyone.
Okay.
Like, that is the huge disparity. But I know women are magicians. Like, you can, oh my God, they can just make bread work for 3 generations.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. What's the most valuable lesson you learned in your last relationship?
Oh, God. Yeah, you can be in a relationship with yourself. Yes, that's what. That's what.
I'd rather be with myself.
I swear, you can be in a relationship with yourself. And most of the time, when people just think they're in a relationship, they forget to ask if they're in there with people or they're in there themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be with yourself.
Yeah. Biryani or pilau?
Biryani, of course, every day, any day.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah, biryani is the heaven.
Do you feel like being a public figure is a blessing or a curse?
Both.
Yeah.
I think it's a cursed blessing. It depends on how you're gonna use it. It's just like not being a public figure.
But what about in a personal relationship?
Oh yeah, now that's gonna be crazy, because now you have to put your partner out there and expect people to like them for you. And as men, we have this culture that is already inbred in us. Yeah. That whenever we I'm even breaking the way this question is supposed to be done.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good.
As men, we love our women better when our friends love them.
Yeah.
Like if I would come and be like, Fatema, like, look at this woman. We've just started dating, and you go like, I'll be like, nah. I forget everything I feel about her, and now I have to change. That's like something that we have to actually grow out of. Yeah. Or maybe we just don't show them, and we just fall in love properly before we start introducing. We are very not strong inside as men, but women, nah, they don't care. They would love you through it all.
I agree.
I've seen those.
I think women, in their resilience and their heart, they if you find a good woman, she will love you through it.
But they're very confusing though. Women are. Yeah. I don't know what you guys do.
I think it's because our brains can multitask so much, and I think with men, it's the way a man's brain works. It's very black and white in a lot of ways, right? They can compartmentalize. Women, it's a little bit difficult to compartmentalize.
You look at too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, women are like microscopes of relationships. Men, I'm with her.
Yeah.
We just walk in, separate, whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. So, get back with your ex or lose all your money.
I've lost all the money. Get back with my ex.
So which one? Which one?
Oh hell no! I love my money.
You love your money?
I really love my money.
Get back with your ex.
I don't know if she can come back and just not. Nah, I love my money.
You love your money, so you will stay with your ex.
No, it's not happening.
So you have to pick one. Either you come back with your ex or you lose all your money.
God.
It's a tough one.
Okay, I can handle that woman.
Handle her.
I'll do my best to handle. I love this money. Yeah. Ish, no, lose the money. I'll look for other ones. No, I'm gonna look for another money. No, take it.
Take all my money.
Take
all my money. That was a very good conversation, Idris. You know, I think I've every time we meet, we actually have some really amazing conversations, right? Yeah. I think I
like you better every time I meet you.
Yeah,
I'm realizing something new.
Yeah, I think it's because we're both very focused on growing, right? I asked you, what do you do over the weekends, and you said, I like to learn. Right?
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
It's surprising. I would wake up so early just to learn
more. And I think, that actually makes life, right? That you're hungry to learn more and do more. And I think that we're both very similar in that sense, that we just want to learn more. You know?
I think we're very good friends.
Yeah, we are. It's genuinely, I think this this podcast has been, it's been such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure having you, just learning another side of you. I used to just think you're really funny. And I was like, man, does this guy really have any essence? And I'm like, man, no, he actually does, you know? And yeah, I love the stories, and it genuinely, it's been such a pleasure. And we touched on this, you know, just to wrap up today's really wonderful conversation, you know. In 100 years, you know,
none of us are going to be there.
Yeah, no one's going to be there. I think that, you know, we do live in this world kind of so attached to our name and our title, you know. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Yeah. That's a very good question. I do not want to be remembered for what I had.
Yeah. As
materials and everything.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered for how I endured life.
Okay.
That is, like, what I imagine is, and I do believe 100 years from now, people are being taught how to handle life.
Yeah.
Because that's a lesson that just happens to you in life. And I hope that's going to be a lesson in school. And I hope that's going to be 100 years. And if they look at me, they would just have to study and realize, how did he not stop at this point?
Yeah.
Why did he proceed? I would love to leave a legacy of how humanity can just be way better than they expect it to be. All they have to do is just not stop.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I hope that's going to be a legacy of mine. Yeah.
I love that. I think that for me, I learned from you genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, just perspective. I think that the way you have, you know, maneuver difficult situations, you know, with humor too. Like, I love that you smile through it, you laugh through it, you know. And we all go through life, like, we all go through difficulty, but when you have that light nature, you know, it makes things so much easier to go through. Right? And as someone like me who's actually quite, you know, I'm quite strict with myself. I think that's something I'm gonna take away, just to have a more light, you know, a more lighter attitude towards life. Right?
You need to leave.
Yeah.
You know, like, literally leave life, like proper. It's like, who makes the rules in the way they are? It's just you have to enjoy how you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Make mistakes, make more mistakes, make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Just go through it all.
Right.
There's that saying that say you cannot eat an orange without peeling it.
Right.
So how are you eating it?
It's true. It's true. I think you're right, and I think that, you know, it is. I think personality also has a part to play. Your past, you know, how you grew up, you know. But again, as somebody who's so dedicated to learning and growing, right? We all should be. You know, instead of focusing so much outwards on people's lives and what they're doing and things outside, like, journey with yourself, right? Like, learn new things about yourself, learn how to navigate situations in your life better, right? That would be that's fun, right? And I think you're right, you know, just perspective, and, you know, be funny, be humor, and find, actually, like we said, you know, find healing through humor. You know?
Gossips are good.
Yeah.
But they're not for the ones who are gossiping. They're good for the one they're gossiping about.
Yeah.
Because they're literally analyzing somebody who, if I go and take that gossip of me that you were doing, I can make myself a better person. But they forget they need to find their own gossips, which is a self-analysis. So we need to gossip about ourselves for us to know what we can actually do.
What a beautiful thing.
Gossip better.
When you first said gossip, I was like, oh my God, because that's something I don't like to do. But look at perspective, right? Yeah. What a beautiful perspective.
We have to gossip better.
Yeah.
We're gossiping about the wrong character.
No, I love it, and I loved our conversation genuinely. Like, it's been such a pleasure, you know, to sit down with you as a friend and talk about, like, you know, life and relationships and stories, and exchange, like, difficulties, and I look forward to so many more amazing conversations. Idriss, thank you for making the time. You are one influencer that is very down to earth, that whenever I ask you, you are there for me. You come to my events, you come to my podcast you come and sit and talk to me. I know you're busy. I know that you have so many things going on, but honestly, this is what I treasure about you, and I really appreciate it.
I appreciate being called for that.
Yeah.
You've never called me for anything that has never made me walk out without learning something. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Idris. It's really been a pleasure. You're a great person and a great friend, and I look forward to so many more.
Thank you.
Great conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.